Hi everyone, welcome to Let's Draw number 8. Sorry for this being late, I know, and you might have noticed, if you didn't see it from my banner on my channel page, I have switched to releasing these to the 1st and the 3rd of the month now. Why is because I needed to free up some time that the Let's Draws were taken up to actually be working on comic book work. I'm still trying to figure out things with my writer that I'm working with. Blah, use your words, probably. I guess I'm also a little rusty in talking. But along with so working out with my writer, but also I realized I wanted to free up some time to start writing my own script, just because it's nice, especially these days, like you're starting to see less and less of the defined I guess writer, like inker, penciler, like how the assembly line that was created at the beginning of comics is becoming less and less, and more writers are taking up the pencil, and more artists are taking up the pen, or for my case, the keyboard for writing. So the writer that I'm working with recommended that a program that he uses, so I need to crack into that program. I've only downloaded it onto my computer, and just need to start. I get to learn a new program as well. I've been learning a lot of new programs of late. I've learned a new screen cap program, as you're seeing the benefits of it right now. You're actually seeing my first recording, digital recording of me working in Manga Studio, and I usually keep when I work, it's like not a lot of UI. It's pretty bare bones. I try to when I work digitally, I try to keep it as traditional as possible, like I was like working on paper. I try not to use the undo tool. I use the eraser, but even like with the limitations of of that, like not using the undo tool, I could still move way faster digitally. I guess the trick, though, is to see if I can get the same quality. That's the difference that I'm still working out. I still need to. I can work digitally, like I can bust out something really fast. A lot of this recording for this Let's Draw, I was actually at my car dealer waiting for my car to get serviced, and they were backed up, so I was there for I think like 3 hours. Honestly, I didn't care because I had this and I was recording, so I was like, you know what, I'm doing work here. So that's the awesome benefits of working digitally, is like I can it's my computer, which is a Cintiq Companion Pro. Is a Cintiq Companion 2. I just got mixed up with the iPad Pro there. The Cintiq Companion 2 is what I'm working on for my tablet, and I was debating on grabbing that one or a Surface or an iPad Pro, and I just went ahead and stuck with a Wacom brand, just because you don't know, but I know. It's because I have Cintiqs at home that I think I bought. Yeah, it's from 2007. Still using it today, and it's still going strong. So it's a brand that I know, that I can trust. Though unfortunately, monitors have a longer lifespan than an actual like computer the Cintiq Companion is going to run out of, it won't be as fast, and I'll have to get a new one eventually. So that's a bummer. So yeah. What to talk about? Oh yeah, so I hope everyone enjoyed their Mother's Day. And if there's any mothers that are watching this, happy Mother's Day. I went to DC to go see my sister graduate grad school. She got a master's in communication, which is like one of the focuses is on social media. She's way better at that stuff than I am. I'm clunky with it, and I hold my privacy very near and dear to my heart. And so working on social media presence. I'm also, I already said I'm private. So I don't know. For some reason, I'm okay creating a video because I think it's a piece of work that I'm putting out there. So it's easier for me to get behind it as opposed to, say, just going out and just. I don't feel comfortable just saying something. Like I feel like I need to be presenting work along with if I'm going to be commenting. It's just what I'm comfortable with, which unfortunately means I am not, I don't post on my social medias platforms until there's work that is done. So, as you can see right now, that it's just one of the things that I love about digital, working digitally, is that I can just throw down blacks super fast, and I can see how the black and white composition of the drawing is coming through, and if it's working, if it's not working, I can just easily delete it, get rid of it. It's kind of a push-pull method, I would consider it. And for some of you who are new, if you're wondering what that P is in the top left, that is a link to my Patreon page. For less than a cup of coffee a month, you can support me. It helps out a great deal, and I appreciate any support I can get. And some perks you get to be on the credits as saying, like, you're definitely one of my patrons, and you're recognized at the end of these videos in the credits. Let's see, zip, 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 zip. It's really fun to watch these like going really fast. Along with the Patreon page, I have my website newsletter. If I can get those words out, I have my website newsletter that I send out just once a month. It's the first Monday of the month, of a new month, and as a benefit for that, you get an image that I do not share anywhere else. It doesn't get posted to Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, so it's only for my email supporters. And I'm sure there's other things I'm forgetting, and they'll come to me in time. All right, so the scene I'm creating is, I haven't done like a heavy layout image yet. And layouts actually were kind of like my go-to. Like, I was more comfortable when I went through art school. I was more comfortable drawing the backgrounds compared to drawing people. And I don't know why. Maybe I don't know, introvert person who like people like were just difficult to draw for me, and I just I think I paid attention. It's just because I didn't pay attention and just needed time drawing people, whereas as opposed to like I I pay attention to my surroundings at that time better than I guess I was paying attention to people. Of course, now you're seeing the benefits of like paying attention to my surroundings and understanding how to draw people. I just they all come together, and I just wanted a slice of life scene, honestly, and I wanted to also have a rainy scene because I'm trying to figure out how to deal with water, inking water and making it look like it's raining, because it's an effect. Like I said, one of the nice things about the Let's Draws is that I get to play around at your all's expense. Wahahaha. I had a coworker tell me that he needed to calm his kids down, and he decided to he made them watch one of my Let's Draw videos and then an episode of Bob Ross after. I'm like, oh, okay. I thought it was funny. I know I have a more chilled, even tone cadence in my speaking and in my personality. I try to keep things chill, honestly. So I thought it was just great, and happy to be, I guess, in the same pantheon as Bob Ross. Oh yeah, originally, so that lamppost, I got confused earlier, and I thought it was going behind that person's umbrella, and then I saw like, oh no, it's supposed to go on top. So thankfully, with this program, I can quickly, I was able to drop the blacks on top. I definitely had to go through all the like I was playing around with the presets, brushes and stuff, and I had to go through and modify them because there weren't because I thankfully, like, if you go the digital route, it helps to know how these materials should act and look traditionally, because it's some people that I've posted my digital work, and they're like, they have a hard time telling if it's digital or traditional, and that's the point. I don't want them. I just wanted to make it look natural, or make it look traditional, and just not that digital look. And so I had to go through and a lot of the brushes that it's not even a brush, it's just a pen tool. But I in Manga Studio, and I just have it roughed up now. So the purpose, even though it looks clean, in some parts, like, I'm actually keeping this pretty rough, and my tool, like if I was using, especially the backgrounds, if I was doing this traditionally, a lot of this would be with a nib, where I do have a lot scratchier style, and it's more of a build up of the line, and I'm trying to get that same feeling across with this background. And so yeah, it's just making sure, like, they had a lot of clean pens, but I went through and just started creating rougher and more dirtier pens to make it feel like the ink was catching on paper. Not sure if this car exists. I kind of just busted out my head, but I was like, it kind of looks like a Cadillac. And the scene, which this doesn't make that much sense because it's supposed to be in, I was looking at a lot of London reference, and so they wouldn't have Cadillacs in London, especially. Kind of feels more, doesn't feel modern for sure. Kind of feels a little bit more like I don't know, 60s-ish. So I don't know if you might eventually see that there's a little dot occupying like above this guy's, it's out of frame right now, but it's above that guy right there with his umbrella, and that's kind of like, it was my traditional focal point for the perspective. And so you'll see me like going over and trying to record. Not record. What am I saying? Sorry, I'm getting distracted. So yeah, no, it's just me going over and trying to, and just I need to constantly I was just trying to reference. I'm trying to do this all freehand and try not to use the program tools. That's kind of it's, some artists have rules that they give themselves, and this scene is supposed to be more organic and I feel like it has a lot more character. And one of the things, like, as opposed to if you check out Let's Draw number 4, which was the spaceship, and that needed to have more clean lines, and so I was using the ruler a lot for that. For this one, oh, you can see the dot now. It's just left of the lamp. So yeah, that. So yeah, my lines. I'm just freehanding everything. It just gives the scene more character, and also like because it's allowing my hand, the artist's hand, to come through, and not get neutered, I guess, by the like some more mechanical tools. It's one of the so treating your background like a character is a great thing to learn, and you'll hear artists say that. I'm saying it. Sometimes I don't even know what that means, like, or how to explain it. For me, I just get an idea, get the main the main intent and focus down, and then I kind of just start sticking in an area, and I'll start figuring out like what little details would a person occupy, like if they lived in this area, like what would be here, and like got like a newspaper stand, and then I have like people who, it's raining, so they bought newspapers and they have it covering their head because they forgot their umbrella. And I'm trying to go through and create little scenes and pockets, because I want to like in my backgrounds, I like to reward those who take the time to look. It's fun. It's kind of like the I Spy book, if you ever had that when you were a kid. It's like that's probably a bad example, but whatever. It's the only one I can come up with. But the I Spy book was it's like I Spy with My Little Eye game, where you where in the book it just started telling you, try to find this and try to find that, and there was just so much going on in that like image. It's like Where's Waldo? It was just meant to overload the senses, so you had to sit there and just really take your time and try to find it, and like observe and like really soak in the scene. Oh, so there's one of the people with a newspaper. He's about to get his legs hacked off though in a second, because I didn't like having his legs. It kind of looks like he's kind of dancing up on the top of the umbrella, and then I was like, ooh, that's not good. So let's talk about revenue streams. I mentioned that I would talk about it the previous video, and I just want to make sure to be consistent and like not address that. Okay, so let's get into ad revenue. Not ad revenue. Okay, so let's get into revenue streams. as I mentioned from the last video. So what are the revenue streams for a comic artist? Some of these streams I'm bringing in from my own research and experience as working with YouTube and having a website. It just opened up more revenue streams for me, as opposed to just if I just were creating comic book pages and that's all I did. Okay, so let's get through this list that I have. So the first step on the list, and I'm ordering these kind of like from we're going to get the most revenue-ish down to like the least revenue. Okay, so creating comics, either as a freelancer, meaning like you're getting hired by like a publisher to work on a book, or either as you're probably gonna, there's more money that way up front, as opposed to if you go self-publishing route, there's more reward at near the end, or later. It's not the end, but just later down the road. It takes time for build-up to happen if you're a self-publisher. I heard usually comic graphic novelist, they usually don't start having success or actually start making a profit until they get to their third book, because they have that backlog now. So if someone discovers them and they're like, oh, I really like this artist, and they go and see like, oh, this person has 2 other books, you know, and they just buy all those other books. It's just it's a nice big chunk going to that artist and I guess publisher that they're going through. Okay, so creating comics is the first one. So after that is merchandise. Merchandise is either going to be, I put comic books in there as well, art books, prints, and originals, etc. If you decide to start putting your images on mugs and stuff, you know, like products. Merchandise is products, and that's what you're trying to sell. And excuse me. So merchandise is products, and there's several websites you can do that through. You know, I created a commerce level Squarespace website, so I can put all my comic book work. I can put all my comic book work on my store. So it's just easy for people to come to my website and see my store. They can buy a product. Easy peasy. And that's a great revenue stream. The one after that, I guess this could be put into product, but I decided to separate it. Commissions, because commissions, it's a product, but it's also kind of a service as well. Merchandise I can kind of consider like I create this thing on my own time, and no one requested it really, and it's just there in the background, and someone buys it, I ship it off. I don't have to put any extra effort. Like it's more upfront work, and then all I have to do is just keep shipping and pushing it to buyers. And commission work is one-of-kind custom work. That's why I consider it more of a service. It's tailored to that one person who wants it. I offer that through my website as well, through the store. Also, if you go to conventions, that's also a great way to get commission work, along with selling your products. And another great revenue stream. Okay, after that, ad revenue. This is unique just for website, blogs, and YouTube channel monetization. It is ridiculously easy to set up, but you're just going to get pennies. But honestly, you want to unlock as many ad revenue streams as possible, and because you're going to be setting out all these buckets, and there's going to be drops going into these buckets, and when you, by the end of the day, month, year, collect all these buckets, and if you pour it all into one bucket, you realize like, oh, I have water. You actually have money just coming in from all these streams, and it accumulates to something that is substantial and hopefully sustainable. So ad revenue, like I said, is just pennies, and I guess some people get the notion that ad revenue through YouTube channel, like, is that's all they need to support themselves. Maybe at first, if you were like in that really small window, that like PewDiePie, and he's the only one I can think of right now, like came in when there's not that much competition and collected all of these like users and subscribers. Yeah. Like he makes millions of dollars from or not millions, maybe $1 million from ad revenue, but he has other ways to make money now as well. He's opened up his other revenue streams. But yeah, and for YouTube, it's like, it's one of those things that it grows as more and more content is created. So why not have it there? Sure. But something that you can make more money off of is crowdfunding. There's like, you got Kickstarter for that, and that's more for project based, of course. But what I recommend, and I kind of just naturally did this, and it was actually a discussion I was hearing between on Jason Brubaker's what's his Coffee Table Comics. He did a podcast back in 2011 called Making Comics, and still some interesting stuff there. But even back then, they were talking about like Patreon. Actually, so this episode I'm referring to is the Scotty Young episode, I think, and they were just discussing, because they were actually talking about passive revenue streams, and one of them was they were talking about like crowdfunding, and like they were talking about Patreon, and that's what they were using. I just now learned about Patreon. There's definitely some early adopters if they were on Patreon back in like 2011, 2012. When like that must have been, I don't know when Patreon came out, but that must have been like when it was brand new. But it was interesting because so if you go through Patreon, there's like, you can go different routes. You can either tie it to a project, or you can tie it to the artist. I decided to tie it to myself, the artist, and that's a better method, just because when you tie it to products, there's just more effort and content that has to be made in order to hit like those revenue goals. So I don't know, I felt pretty proud of myself, oh, this is kind of like a better way to use this program, and I try to be upfront, like the money that you all give me is being put towards like supporting me to work into comics. So, and yeah, I'm just as Robin Holstein on Patreon if you want to check it out, and any support you give, that's wonderful. It's just $1 a month, which is less than a cup of coffee, And if you want to learn some other benefits that you can do with $1 a month, check out my only creator survival guide video, which is on credit cards and how to hack and use them properly. So check that out. Okay, so crowdfunding, great source. Now, affiliate deals, affiliate programs, I should say. Now that's I have that through my website. It was interesting setting that up because I originally wanted to be affiliated with Amazon and Blick. I didn't realize Blick had an affiliate program in the first place, and I buy most of my traditional materials through Blick, and they did not like the idea that, like, I guess Amazon's a competitor with them, so it's like I had to choose between Amazon and Blick, and I chose Blick because they actually have, I actually shopped through them, and they have all, I know that they have all my gear that I'm using that I can pass on along to you, saying, like, you know, this is where I buy everything. And so yeah, affiliate programs are they're pretty much on the same level of revenue as ad revenue. You're just getting pennies, and you just get a percentage of the sale when you drive traffic through. When I drive traffic through my website, like, I have links from them to, like, in all my blogs you can see, or you may not see, because you might have ad blocker on. So if you have an ad blocker on, as I stated, you have to turn that off. I actually even caught myself with that because I have ad blocker, just because the internet is full of malicious crap, and like, yeah, like I was so confused. This is kind of embarrassing, but I've since, like, started turning my ad blocker off for certain websites like YouTube, and other, like, websites, because I wanted to give money back to them, and they need to be running those ads. But yeah, I actually blocked myself when I went to, like, I set up all my links, and I went to go check it out on my website live, and I'm like, why can't I see my links? I don't understand. And it took me a couple days to realize, oh, it was ad blocker extension was blocking all of that. So turn that off if you want to see the materials that I'm using on my blog posts, and they're just links to Blick, to that product. So, yep, so affiliate programs, not getting rich, but it's just, you know, it's just I'm not going to turn away money. It's just, even if it's pennies, whatever, at this point. And then brand deals, sponsorship. Usually I have to be at a certain size to even, like, unlock this feature. There's, like, I see websites now where you go and, like, you can see what brands you want to promote, and you have to be a certain size to unlock it. Usually around 5,000 subscribers to YouTube before you can even, like, check out this feature. So I'm not even worried about that one. I'm like, I don't even know if I'm going to be doing it, honestly. We'll see when I actually even get to that size. Who knows? So those are what I could think of as revenue streams. So quickly run down the list again. It was creating comics, and, like, either through freelance or self-publishing, having merchandise, which is art books, prints, originals, and pre-existing comics that you've worked on and can promote. Commissions, I separate that out from merchandise just because I consider that more of a service. You can't sell that to anyone else. So, and it's only, you're selling it one time just to that one person. So, yeah, that's separate. Ad revenue, you're not going to get rich off of that. Crowdfunding. So ad revenue, crowdfunding, affiliate programs, those are all kind of like just hanging out in the background, collecting pennies. Or crowdfunding, thankfully, that's actually, you get that, that's actually better than ad revenue and affiliate programs. So that's actually something to look into if you haven't. And brand deals, the last one, and you have to be a certain size really to really unlock that one. Just because you have to have brands have to realize that you're legitimate, and usually legitimacy comes from just sticking around long enough and creating content and getting a following and building that following, and which is, you know, I have all this foundation down, but at this point it's just all I have to worry about is creating content, which is actually kind of nice. I just have to worry about drawing. So yeah, those are all the revenue streams that a comic artist can unlock. If you please, especially those who are actually working in comics, or if you have a clever idea, if you have a suggestion. I mean, I didn't know Patreon until I talked out to coworkers about it, because I live under a rock. And so if you have a suggestion for other ways for revenue stream, share that below. I would appreciate it, and more importantly, the other people who are watching this video will definitely appreciate it. So please pass that along. All right, that's the end of Let's Draw number 8. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry this was late, and I am making a change in my schedule. It's for the better. It frees up more time for comics without driving me insane. I love doing this stuff, and I hope in the future, when I free up time, honestly, I would have to leave my day job to free up time to go back to once a week. And so yeah, if I can free up my day job to work on comics full time, I can do that. But until then, every other week, or the first and the third Wednesday. Please go to my website to subscribe to my newsletter, robinholstein.org. Also check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/robinholstein. And thank you all so much. Thank you so much for my Patreon supporters. You're making this so much easier on me, and I appreciate it so much. And I'll keep you all posted on my Patreon page what is happening, especially when I start writing my own scripts. I'll keep you in the loop. And of course, if others want to check out my Patreon feed, you have to become a Patreon member, but it's only $1 a month, and super cheap, and it helps a lot. So yeah, talk to everyone later. Bye.